Hello cricket fans, summer is here, which means it's time for another edition of the Big Bash League. In today's video I'm going to be previewing BBL 06, the 6th edition of the Big Bash, the 2016/17 season of the Big Bash. Last year's season was absolutely fantastic. The Sydney Thunder took out the league after defeating the Melbourne Stars in the final, and this season is expected to be just as good. Now in this preview I'm going to be looking at all the teams' squads, fixtures, and also one player to watch from each squad. So let's not muck around, let's get straight in to the preview. Let's firstly start off with the BBL 06 dates. Of course the season will get underway on the 20th of December, which is a Tuesday. The Sydney Sixers will meet the Sydney Thunder at Spotless Stadium in the season opener, and then it basically goes just over a month and finishes on the 28th of January with the final. Of course that will be in conjunction with the WBBL 02 final on the same day. So that is the KFC BBL 06 dates. Okay, let's start off by having a look at the Adelaide Strikers. They've made 5 changes to their squad from BBL 05, a squad that actually went to the semi-finals but unfortunately lost that particular semi-final. They start their season off on the 21st of the 12th, 16 against the Brisbane Heat at their home ground of Adelaide Oval. They've got a really good squad in my opinion. Brad Hodge, of course, is the highlight of the squad as the captain. Wes Agar is also in the side. Alex Carey is also there, as well as Jonathan Dean. Ben Dunk comes into the side, of course, crossing over from the Hobart Hurricanes. It was actually a trade deal. Hamish Kingston went to the Hurricanes for Ben Dunk. So it's kind of a little bit of a blow for the Hobart Hurricanes, but it is a very good gain for the Strikers, because we know that when he can get going, even though he didn't have the best season last season, when he can get going, he really can do very well for the squad. So Ben Dunk is in the side. Travis Head, he got the most runs in BBL 05. He is there this season. John Holland is there. Chris Jordan comes into the side this season. Ben Lachlan is there. Jake Lehman. Tim Ludeman, who actually got the most catches and is actually the highest all-time run scorer for the Strikers. Michael Nessa. Kieran Pollard comes back into the Strikers side for this season. Of course, missed last season. Kane Richardson is also there, has the highest wicket taker, is the highest wicket taker, I should say, for the Strikers in their history. Craig Simmons, Kelvin Smith, Billy Stanlake, and Jake Wiverrad rounds out the Strikers side for BBL 06. Just the highlight in their fixture there, they've got a New Year's Eve clash against the Sixers, which is going to be a really good clash. And the player to watch for me from the Strikers is Kieran Pollard. He comes back into the side in BBL 06. Of course, he was meant to play last year but didn't. We know that he is a very powerful West Indian, and that is why he is my player to watch from the Strikers side. So that is the Adelaide Strikers for BBL 06. Brisbane Heat are no doubt looking stronger than BBL 05, a season where they could only finish 6th on the ladder and claim 3 wins and 5 losses. So from their point of view, not the season they were hoping for, but the inclusion of Brendan McCullum this year is no doubt a big plus for their side. In fact, he is the captain of their side for BBL 06. You might remember he was supposed to be a part of the competition last year with the Brisbane Heat, but international duty cut that out. Samuel Badtree is also in the side. Joe Burns, who of course we know has been cut from the Test side after that performance at Blundstone Arena, but he is no doubt a good player. Ben Cutting is also in the side, the all-time wicket taker for the Brisbane Heat. Alex Doolan, the Tasmanian, also in the side. Andrew Feckerty, Luke Fieldman, Jason Flores, Sam Hazlitt, Marnus Levshane, Josh Layla, Chris Lynn, who is actually the all-time run scorer and was actually the player of the year for the Brisbane Heat last season. He is also in the squad once again. James Pearson, Nathan Reardon, Alex Ross, another inclusion to the side, Mark Steckety, Mitchell Swepson, and then finally rounding out the Brisbane Heat side is Jack Whittlemuth. And my player to watch from the Brisbane Heat is no doubt Brendan McCullum. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can provide to the Big Bash League in 2016/17. He is no doubt, in my opinion, the player to watch. He had such a good international career with New Zealand. It's going to be great to see him in the Big Bash League. My team, the Hobart Hurricanes, have made 5 changes from the BBL5 squad that came 7th, which was quite disappointing in my opinion. Only the 3 wins and the 5 losses. I was expecting a little bit higher on the ladder, but it just did not happen last season in BBL05. Probably the biggest inclusion to the BBL06 squad is Stuart Broad. You can see that's my player to watch. The England paceman. It's going to be quite thrilling to see what he can provide to the Big Bash League. He's of course no doubt a very good player. And of course a player that may be hated by most Australians, but I am really looking forward to seeing him in the purple colours this season. The squad is captained by Tim Payne, who has been around for some time in the Hobart Hurricanes squad. George Bailey is there as well, of course, a great player. Of course, for the Australian team as well in the shorter formats. James Basley is also in the side. Cameron Boyce, Stuart Broad, as I mentioned. Dan Christian is in the side again this year. Hamish Kingston, of course, like I mentioned before, was a part of that Ben Dunk trade deal. Ben McDermott, Dominic Michael, Simon Malenko, Sam Rainbird, Jack Reed, Clive Rose, Kuma Sekakara is back for BBL06. Darcy Short, who was just signed very recently and could play as up the top of the order with Tim Payne. Sean Tate is also in the side again this year. Bew Webster, and finally rounding out the side is Jonathan Wells, coming back to Tasmania to play for the Hobart Hurricanes. They start their BBL06 journey at the SCG against the Sixers 2 days before Christmas. Of course, they started their campaign last year against the same side at the same venue and got smashed, so they're hoping that doesn't happen again this season. And probably the highlight of their fixture is the Boxing Day game against the Melbourne Stars, a team that they haven't versed at Blundstone Arena since BBL 01. I was there that year at that game, and that was when Shane Warne was playing, so that was a while ago now. So that game is the real highlight of their fixture in BBL06. Like I mentioned, player to watch for me from the Hobart Hurricanes squad is Stuart Broad. And from my point of view, being a Hobart Hurricanes supporter, I'm hoping that the Hobart Hurricanes get up in that top 4 this season. However, you could probably argue that their squad is not looking the strongest than some teams in BBL06, but that doesn't mean they can't get up there in the top 4. The Melbourne Renegades have made 3 changes from their squad last season that came 5th with 3 wins and 5 losses. One of those changes is, of course, West Indian Chris Gale coming out of the side and not participating in BBL06, which is a real shame actually, because he holds the most runs for the Melbourne Renegades last season with a run count of 260. He was a real entertaining player last season, and despite all the controversy, it's quite sad to actually not see him participating in the Big Bash League. And you know, it wasn't great what he did, but you know, he should be here in the league. He's one of the biggest players in the world in terms of 2020 players, and even in other formats he's quite sensational as well. But Melbourne Renegades still have some big time players in their squad. Aaron Finch, of course, the captain, of course. Not sure how many games he'll fit in before he has to go to one-day duty. Tom Betton is also in the squad. Dwayne Bravo, who was actually the player of the year for the Melbourne Renegades last season, he is also in the squad. Tom Cooper also in the side, as well as Xavier Doherty. Callum Ferguson made a test debut a few weeks ago, of course. Marcus Harris, Brad Hogg, that's the big signing, I reckon. changing over from the Perth Scorchers and coming over to the Melbourne Renegades to play. Big signing. Sinil Nareen is also in the side. Peter Neville, of course, dropped from the Test side, of course, as their wicket keeper, but will no doubt have a big role to play in this squad. James Patterson, Nathan Rimington, Matthew Short, Peter Siddle, Chris Tremaine, Matthew Wade, Cameron White, and also Nick Winter rounds out their BBL 06 squad. My player to watch is Dwayne Bravo, fantastic player. We know what he can do with both the bat and the ball, and he was the player of the year last season, which makes him the player to watch for me from the Melbourne Renegades. They've got two big games against the Melbourne Stars this season, one on New Year's Day and then one in their next game on the 7th of January 2017 at Etihad Stadium. The Melbourne derbies are always the biggest matches of the Big Bash League. The Melbourne Stars had made no changes to their squad from BBL 05 until Hastings got injured, so because he might most likely not play for the Stars this season because of that injury, they've brought on Jackson Coleman. Don't take my word for that, it's just what I've read. So Jackson Coleman comes into the side, although Hastings is still named in the squad. David Hussey is the captain. Michael Beer a part of the squad as well. Scott Boland, James Faulkner, Sebastian Gotch, Evan Golbus is there as well. Peter Hanscombe, of course, congratulations to Peter Hanscombe, scored a century for Australia in the Test team against Pakistan. Well done to him. Sam Harper also in the side. John Hastings, as I mentioned, although that injury is casting a cloud over his BBL 06 season. Ben Hilfenhaus there, Glenn Maxwell as well. Of course, a lot of controversy surrounding him at the moment, isn't there? Kevin Peterson also back in the side for BBL 06. Robert Quiney there as well. Marcus Stoinis, Tom Trifford, Dan Worrell, Luke Wright, a part of the Stars squad again this season. Adam Zampa, and of course, as I mentioned before, Jackson Coleman has just recently been included into the BBL 06 squad. Some highlights of their fixtures, of course, that Boxing Day game will be a ripper, and also those derbies as well will be quite good as well. And then Kevin Peterson is my player of the match. He was fantastic to watch last season, actually. Player of the year for the Melbourne Stars in BBI 5, and in fact he did get the most runs for the squad last season as well. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing him when he comes down to Blundstone Arena and plays. I'm hoping that he will, and yeah, just a great classic Englishman player. So that is my player to watch from the Melbourne Stars side in BBL 06. That's the squad, and of course that's their fixture as well. Perth Scorchers have made a few changes for BBL 06. They lost the semi-final last year and missed out on another final last season, but they wouldn't be too worried about that with the finals they have won. As I said, they've made a few changes. They've actually brought in Mitchell Johnson and Ian Bell, which is big inclusions to their side. Of course, Ian Bell we know about, and same with Mitchell Johnson. Of course, they've both clashed in Ashes games. It's no doubt about that. The other players in the side, of course, include the captain, Adam Voges, Ashton Agar also in the side, Cameron Bancroft there as well, Jason Beredorf, Ian Bell as I mentioned, Hilton Cartwright, Nathan Corton-Nile, Mitchell Johnson as I mentioned, Michael Klinger, Mitch Marsh, Sean Marsh, James Muirhead, Joel Paris, Jane Richardson, Ashton Turner, Andrew Ty, who in fact got the most wickets for the Perth Scorchers in BBL 05, Sam Whiteman, and then finally David Willey rounds out their squad for BBL 06. It's a really good squad actually. I'm looking forward to seeing Ian Bell and also Mitchell Johnson in the Big Bash. They're of course the two players that I'm really looking forward to seeing from a Perth Scorchers point of view. And of course the Perth Scorchers do come down to Blundstone Arena this season, so I'll get a glimpse of those two players. And my player to watch, well, it was a toss-up between those two sides. I've had to go Mitchell Johnson. We know what he has done in his career, in his international career for Australia, and so that is what makes him a real player to watch for the Perth Scorchers. I reckon they'll be up there again this year. I can't see them being down in the bottom part of the ladder, in the bottom four. They should be in the top four again this season. Possibly another win in the another win in a final this season is definitely not out of the question. They have a very good squad, and their campaign actually gets underway 2 days before Christmas against the Strikers at the Wacker. So looking forward to seeing that. After a narrow loss a couple of seasons ago in BBL 04 against the Perth Scorchers in the BBL 04 final, they came back last season, could only finish 8th with 2 wins and 6 losses, which was quite disappointing from their point of view, the Sydney Sixers. They come back this season with a few inclusions. They get their season underway with the season opener against their fellow Sydney rivals, the Sydney Thunder at Spotless Stadium. And Moses Rees, of course, is the captain. He is a very good player, we know that. Sean Abbott in the side as well. Sam Billings, Jackson Bird, Doug Bollinger, Johan Bofer, Ryan Carters, Ben Dorfushes, Brad Hattett, of course, the veteran wicketkeeper, is in the side as well. Josh Hazelwood, Daniel Hughes, Nathan Lyon, Nick Madison, Josh Meaney, Stephen O'Keefe, Jason Roy, Jordan Silk, and then rounding out their BBL 06 side is Mitchell Stark. They do have a good side, although they had basically a similar team last season, but unfortunately couldn't get up in that top four and challenge. So that is going to be their task this season, no doubt about that. I'm going with Nick Madison as the player to watch. I know there's been a lot of controversy with him in the last couple of weeks since he got named in the Test squad, and there really shouldn't be, because like I mentioned in my previous videos, he has the talent to be in the international sides, and we've seen him make his name in the Big Bash League before. He's actually, in fact, holds the all-time run scorer for this side, the Sydney Sixers. So we know if he can get going and he's at his best, he can really do some damage against the opposition. So Nick Madison is my player to watch, and watch out for him when he comes back from the Test side and from Test duty, because he'll come into the Sydney Sixers side and really provide some A game. So Nick Madison is my player to watch from the Sydney Sixers. And then finally we have the Sydney Thunder. They were the champions of BBL 05. They beat the Melbourne Stars at the Melbourne Cricket Ground in the final. They come back this season with a very good side, it's no question about that. And they will, of course, as I mentioned before, kick off their campaign against the Sixers in the season opener on Tuesday, the 20th of December 2016 at their home ground of Spotless Stadium. Of course, they did used to play games at an ANZ Stadium, but they've of course since moved to Spotless Stadium and made that their home. Shane Watson is the captain, although he did pick up an injury about a week ago. I think it was in their trial game. So he could be in some doubt for at least the first part of the season. Ford Armand, who I believe has been forgotten out of the international side. I know they were kind of investing him being in the Test team, etc., but he's since been forgotten about, so he's in the side as well. Aidan Blizzard, of course, a former Hurricane there. Patrick Cummings, Jake Doran, Ryan Gibson, Chris Green, Chris Hartley, Usman Khawaja has been doing a sensational job at international level recently. Nathan McAndrew is there as well. Alistair McDermott, Clint McKay, Owen Morgan, Ajahn Noah, Curtis Patterson, Ben Rohrer, Andre Russell, and also Gurnanar Sendhu. And my player to watch is Andre Russell. He was third in the most wickets in BBL 05, third with 16 wickets. In fact, you could probably say he was joint second, because he had the same amount of wickets than Adelaide Rashid, who played for the Strikers last season. So look, he took a magnificent catch against the Hurricanes at Blundstone Arena. I was there, I had a very good look at it. In fact, I was looking straight down at him when he took that catch. I couldn't believe it. It was a perfect catch. He can field, he can do all sorts of things, and he'll take a few wickets, I reckon, this season and be a real crucial part of the Sydney Thunder team in BBL 06. So Andre Russell, my player to watch in BBL 06 from the Sydney Thunder. And that is my BBL06 preview. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and share this video around. I'd really appreciate it. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. I've got lots of other cricket content to come. Of course, I'm going to be previewing more of the international series that involve Australia. And I'm also going to be previewing the BBL06 semi-finals and finals when they come around. So do subscribe and do not miss a moment of that. Of course, I've got other content to come as well. I'm doing some Sydney to Hobart content very shortly. I'll be announcing that on my Facebook page this week, so do stay tuned for that. I'm doing some other content as well from some other sports, so do stick around and watch that if that's what you're interested in. So thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jacob. Enjoy BBL06. I cannot wait. Bye for now.